ekyo tugenda kukiraba mu ngeri gye bagenda okweyisa moving forward kubanga ffe kye tubasabye timutambulire ku tteeka mugoberere etteeka kyerigamba kye muba mukola etteeka bwe liba ligamba nti first of all fena twenkana wansi w'amateeka gwe nogamba mu aba NUP tugenda balisa akakanja bwe mukola procession naye aba NRM tugenda baprotectinga ekyo tekiba kyabwenkanya soka tulabe eneeyisa yaabwe yegenda odetermininga naye era tubagambye nti kati eno meeting ebadde yakusatu tubabulidde meeting eno nti meetings zino kati bbiri ezasooka tezirina kyezituyambye kubanga twajja wano era abapoliisi ne bekomitinga era bwe twadda mu field ne mulaba byonna bye bakola so katusuubire oba oli awo nti after today banaatereeza muko kola activities we tubeera ne twogera ku roots okutuyisa mu makubo agawala ne twogera ku civil servants n'ebirala naye ate waliwo n'ensonga endala ez'essimba zitwogeddeko ezikwatagana ku kalulu kano ke tugendamu twogedde ku ngeri gye baleeta buno obuuma bwa biometric machines ne tubategeeza nti bannayuganda abasinga tebamanyi ki ekigenda mu maaso era ne batuwa obweyamo nti bagenda katutandika kuyigiriza abantu bwe bukola n'ebirala bwe bityo naye ate tukyalina ebibuuzo bingi nnyo nga mwotwalidde etteeka ki lye bagenda okusinziirako tubadde tubabuuza buno obuuma bubiri bwe mugamba okutwala ku polling station bwonna bwe bufa ki ekigenda kubeerawo n'ebirala bwe bityo betwogeddeko twogedde ku nsonga ya register ne tubagamba twagala register eyo mu bwangu ddala eri final twogedde ku nsonga ya tally sheets ne DR forms mu kalulu akaggwa n'obululu bwonna bwonna obaddewo electoral commission tetuwa tally sheet per district okulaga buli candidate akoze atya naye etteeka liragira nti balina okutuwa tally sheet eyo era tukibagambe twagala tally sheets ezo etteeka ligamba nti bwe mumala kulonda DR form oba declaration of results form yeyo polling station eteekebwe mu kifo abantu bonna bonna basobola kulaba nti buno bululu candidates bwe bajjeeyo era nakyo tubagambye bakikole ku mulundi guno twayogedde ku nsonga y'okudenominatinga bakandidate baffe bye mubadde mulaba ne rulings ez'enjawulo ze tutanafuna okwesanga abakandidate baffe abamu bali ku bunkenke tebamanyi akakiiko kanaatuwandukulula oba nedda ne tubagambye byonna byebakola bikyamu ne twogera ku nsonga y'abakandidates baffe abamu be balemesezza okukampeininga mu prisons areas ku police barracks n'ebirala era ekyo nakyo ne tukivumirira nnyo ensonga endala gye twogeddeko mu bululu obuwedde mu kirabye nti Kampala ne Wakiso ebyokulondesa bituuka leeti era ne baba basoma results batandika nga basoma za Amudati owulira nti bali Kabera Maido tebaagala kusoma results eze Kampala eze Wakiso eze Buyikwe awo wali badde osuubira nti results zesooka okuyingirawo so ne tubagamba nti katusuubire ku mulundi guno ebyokulondesa bigenda kutuuka mu budde mu Kampala mu Wakiso n'ebitundu byonna ebiri kumpi ate n'awalala wonna bituuke mu budde bannayuganda basobole okulonda n'okumanya results zaabwe entuufu twogedde nnyo ku nsonga ya transmission results zino zitambula zitya okuva ku polling station okutuukira ddala ku National Tally Center era ne basuubiza nti bagenda kufunayo olukiiko olulala naye ensonga eyo ebeera ensonga nkulu nnyo kubanga bannayuganda abasinga ono Comrade Katana last time yali ku Tally Center buli omu ng'abuuza results zino zivaawa zemusoma ng'abantu oluusi tebategeera bwe zitambula abantu ne batuuka n'okulowooza nti babeeraawo just ne basoma bye basomye so ne tubagamba nti ku mulundi guno twalyagadde abantu baffe bonna bamanye results zaabwe bwe ziviiridde ddala ku polling station okutuukira ddala ku Tally Center.
Is the realization by all the participants in the meeting that we cannot allow ourselves, we cannot allow the trend the campaigns have taken of late to continue, and therefore every stakeholder who is involved in the campaign process must play a role in drawing back and ensuring that the ugly scenes of violence, bloodshed, even loss of lives must come to an end. That from now on, let us move on a new trajectory of ensuring that there is peace, there is harmony during campaigns, and that the people of Uganda should not be put on tenterhooks to think that the way things are moving, we are likely to have instability in the country because of this electoral process. So we have, the parties have agreed that all of us have a role to play in ensuring that we don't see a repeat of what happened in Kayunga the other day where one life was lost, and the other things that we have been seeing around. And I want to thank the people who turned up, the agents of the presidential candidates, for having made that undertaking, for having made the realization that the kind of election we want in this country can only be determined by ourselves, and how we conduct ourselves on the choices we make, whether to obey the law, whether to conform to the guidelines or not, and also whether we act with decency and civility and courtesy, and to avoid the kind of tone, rhetoric, or language that might incite some kind of feeling of militancy or anger or frustration among our supporters, because some of our supporters hang onto the words of their leaders, and therefore we have urged them that they should they should urge their candidates to ensure that the language they use, the way they conduct themselves, will determine largely on how peaceful the whole campaign process will be conducted. It's that the Commission has to deal with before we come to polling. So we now have the funds, since government has now approved the supplementary budget. We believe we now have the funds that are required. Secondly, as you are aware, these biometric kits have already arrived in the country. And thirdly, you recall, those of you who have been participating in these elections, that previously the polling station in urban areas could have as many as 1,200 voters in a number, one polling station. In the rural areas, the polling station could have about 900 voters on average. But we said, in order for us to effectively put this biometric kit or system in use to achieve the intended purpose, where we make sure that one person gets only one vote or one ballot paper and does not attempt to come back, where we make sure that the only ballot papers that will be counted are those which were authentically issued to a verified voter. So we realized that in order for us to handle that effectively, the current numbers of 1,200 are not tenable to allow the smooth or proper utilization of this system. So we reduced the number to 600. We took into account the fact that polling starts from 7 to 4 p.m. Those are about 9 hours. 9 hours times 9 hours 60 minutes, that is about 540 minutes. Now if we improve and in the training we are going to emphasize the issue of speed and efficiency, so that one voter does not take more than a minute being verified. Okay, then that's why we decided now to reduce the number of voters to about 600. You get me? And as a result, we have had to split those polling stations which had more than 600 people. Now, that has resulted into having more polling stations across the country, from the projected 42,000 in our roadmap to now 50,539 polling stations. Now, we are going to make sure that these numbers, assuming all the 600 voters turned up at a polling station, we believe we can handle them within these 540 minutes which are available. Mind you, the law says that if voters are at a polling station at the dot of 4 p.m., they were at a polling station in the queue, but they have not yet had the opportunity to cast their vote, they are allowed to vote. For voting in some areas where voters turn up in huge numbers or in big numbers, and the process has not yet been completed by 4 p.m., they can go on voting up to 5 and so on. So that is one thing I want to clarify. However, the voter will not be allowed to cast his or her vote is one who comes after 4 p.m. Now, because of that, therefore, we required more money from what was originally budgeted for if we are to have 42,000 polling stations. Now that we are going to have 53,000 polling stations plus, it means, one, we are going to recruit more polling officials, we must have more ballot boxes, we must have more everything, in other words. So that's why the budget has gone up. We have the money, government has given us the money, and we're going to make sure we do that. The same goes for gazetting. Because the number of polling stations have gone up, we also have to do a regazetting of these polling stations and tell the country that we now have so many polling stations officially and legally. So for us, as far as we are concerned, we are prepared.
How much? From what money to what money?
And I cannot tell you precisely the increment or by how much this has gone up. But all I can say is that we have now enough funds to address this issue, and we are going to cater it. We are going to handle it appropriately.
Chair, you're talking about technology.
Yeah. Oh yes, it was raised. That was one.
And you said that the candidates should not attract a crowd, these crowds along the road, but they should find them at the venue. But sir, you also know that these people are not following. They just gather and they just follow. How are you going to ensure that the candidates move straight to the venue without these crowds following?
Well, first of all, you see, we have told the agents of the candidates that, look, if we want a smooth process, if we want a peaceful process, you must work towards that peaceful process. Candidates should urge their supporters through their agents in the districts that please send out announcements on the radios, on so on and so forth, or using all media platforms, that our candidate will be in this district on such a day, and the designated campaign venue is such and such a place. Please go there and the candidate finds you there. Haven't you seen some candidates who find their supporters in big numbers at the campaign venue? Does every candidate move with his or her supporters to a campaign venue? Is that what happens? So we have said, since there are those candidates who find their supporters at a campaign venue, it means all of us can do that. How do those people do it? You just urge your people that let me find you at a designated campaign venue. And we have told the agents, tell your candidates, let them appeal to their supporters. Please, when you follow me in these big numbers, you are going to attract security. Because security has cautioned us, the Electoral Commission has given us guidelines that we should avoid carrying out processions along public roads because we are disrupting other road users. And secondly, you cannot guarantee that all these people who are involved in this huge procession, riding motorcycles, that they are going to be careful, you have seen some of them knocking each other and so on and so forth. So that's why we have said, let the candidates or their agents or the respective political parties play their role and encourage their supporters, urge their supporters, caution their supporters. Please, this business of following our candidate is not allowed because you are creating something that the law does not permit. Thirdly, we have also told them, when a candidate gets to an area, maybe a trading center, he finds supporters gathered. There's no harm in you waving at them and saying hi to them. But the moment you stop and start addressing them, when you know your designated campaign venue is ahead, then you start moving at snail pace, at low speed. Then you attract all these people to follow you. So that's why we are saying the candidates, their agents, the political parties can prevent creating an environment which has given rise to the kind of ugly scenes and scenarios that have been unfolding before our very eyes. I think it can be done. And I think from what I picked from them, I don't know what